Good evening, and welcome to Once Upon a Ramble, where members of the Once Upon a Roll cast get together to discuss our Dungeons and Dragons campaign, or D&D in general. Tonight we're discussing why we decided to play Dungeons and Dragons and why we continue to do so 3 years later. I'm here joined by Duen, Nimue, and Cele. My name is Xen. Say hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Greetings and salamanders.
So, as stated, this is kind of getting into why each of us individually decided to start playing this game called Dungeons and Dragons. And once we started, what brings us back nearly every week to continue doing so. For me, interest in the game actually started when I was in high school, I believe, but I didn't know too much about it. I've only heard about it, but I was real big into fantasy, and I even wrote a lot of fantasy at the time. But there was the aspect of actually talking to people and trying to find other people of the same interest, and it wasn't exactly something I was totally comfortable just going up to people, even friends, and saying, "Hey, you want to try playing Dungeons and Dragons?" Because it was not as mainstream as it has become. And that kind of interest in it wasn't always at the forefront of my mind, but it was always something that I had kind of wished I could have gotten into up until the point that we started playing. It was always something that, if asked or if I thought about, was something that I would have wanted to start doing because, I've been I've had my own fantasy world in my head. I was 13, I guess. Started writing that first little fantasy. Our campaign, it's all world building from the ground up, from the beginning. We decided to jump right into the deep end together, not knowing anything about how to play the game, the mechanics of the game, or anything. We decided not to just run pre-made adventures or small things. I decided to go in, I'm going to make a world. You guys decided to come in, make your own characters with backstories, not making pre-generated characters or anything like that. We all just jumped completely into the deep end together, and yes,
That's one of the interesting things, actually, is that when I used to look up D&D, and I had absolutely no knowledge before we started of anything having to do with D&D and how it works. I knew of its existence, but I didn't know any of the technicalities of it. So I remember when, a player that we used to have was in here and he was trying to explain it all to me. It's like, to a certain extent, it didn't matter because the world that we're jumping into was completely handwritten by Xen, and it's no small feat in and of itself. Like, it's a much different game than I believe, like, most people would experience.
Good point. And also, like, people that don't know what Dungeons and Dragons is, I think that everyone has heard of it. I don't know that nobody hasn't heard of it, especially, with it being a little bit mainstream, especially with a few years ago, the whole Stranger Things making it at least known to most people. But at the same time, I don't feel like people fully grasp or understand what the game is because the game itself doesn't really define what it is. Up to the players what the game is. And that's purely the beauty of it, why, in my honest opinion, it is the best game ever. Because it's only as good as it can be, as good as you make it.
As long as you are any freaking good at role playing.
Not even. It's
No, dude, don't even. All right, I still have the original videos, dude. You can sit here. I'll send them to you. You can watch that garbage.
Yeah, and I will, freeze myself into a small paper ball, but
Hmm?
we were having fun, right? What else?
Oh no, yeah, I mean, of course. They're not bad memories by any means.
And I guess the little bit for my part, kind of circling back and finishing off why I continue playing. I love writing. I still do. Writing is one of my favorite ways to express myself and get all these crazy head down to paper and really find out what's there. But it's different with trying to write, adventures or plot hooks or storylines for Dungeons and Dragons because the story, I don't even know the end of the story. I don't know most of the story because it's how you guys, players, interact with it and change what I might have come in thinking, where the story's going. And that sort of chaotic group writing element to it makes writing for Dungeons and Dragons more fun than just writing a novel, in my and it's that storytelling, that group storytelling, and figuring out where the hell this story that we have been writing for over 3 years probably now gonna go. But it's very far away from where I had thought in the beginning. That's really what keeps me coming back. Fun, and I'm interested in the story. I don't know where it's going. So I believe in your case, Dune,
Hmm.
at least when the idea, the position to start playing was brought to you, and you mentioned a few times that the the main reason why you like D&D and everything is mostly the doing stuff with friends aspect of it.
Interesting that you'd bring that up because I guess yes, as probably embarrassing as that is in comparison to almost anybody else, um, the only not the only but the primary reason that I played, and a big reason, I wouldn't say it's still the primary, but a big reason as to why I still come every single week is um, just to have a means of playing something with friends. Um, it's embarrassing and it kind of sucks to say sometimes because it can be viewed as like I don't have any standards. like it can devalue what we're doing if I say it like that, like so bluntly, if people perceive it in the wrong way. I don't want anyone to sit there and think like, oh, he doesn't like D&D, he's just here because of the whatever. No, I enjoy it. It's just I don't know, it's become something much crazier, much bigger than I would have ever imagined. So like even though in the beginning it was kind of just, I'm along for the ride. I am like I'm like a just an observing NPC of some sort, quietly sitting off on the side, almost doing nothing. To whatever the hell I do every fucking Saturday.
And that's interesting. I think that a lot of that, I don't think that any of us quite expected this venture, this hobby of ours to become what it is now. It's Like it's all make believe, it's all pretend. We're pretending to be pretend characters in a pretend world, but at the same time, it's real to some extent. Like when something happens to an NPC that we're invested in, and it's weird for me to say that I'm invested in an NPC because I'm the one that created them and create whatever misfortune might befall them, but probably more so, obviously, the player character. If whenever anything happens to you guys or any potentially things happen to you guys as characters, they're not just avatars in a video game or that we play. If we were to lose one of them, it would mean something, you know?
Yeah, it's a very much a personal thing. Our characters are not like they're definitely at a point where they're linked to us, even if they're not like us personally. They're still like a part of us, and it's not too difficult, at least for me to grasp. I mean, maybe some other people. I mean, I just came off of freaking playing Omori and crying like a stupid baby for like I don't know the whole entire week over fictional characters. So I mean, feeling for fictional characters has never been something strange to me personally. But you know, at the same time, that's a story generated by somebody else, playing a character that somebody else made in a single like thing. This is something that we all made. So it's got that kind of like that personal feel of like a character you made in an MMO, but like beyond that, because you know, even though you sit there, you create your character, and when you go out there, it's not as story oriented as D&D, of course.
And
So,
you can run into like a doppelganger at some point that looks almost exactly like you because of, you know, the limited options available in most MMOs.
True.
yeah,
True. Doppelganger is another thing. And you know what? That should be something that could be celebrated and condemned against DMs that would dare do that within like the first week of their fucking players. Wait, not week, first month. Like the first month, we threw a doppelganger at us.
it wasn't a doppelganger of one of your characters, though. But that's an interesting point. Like, obviously, it's different because your avatar, your character in an MMO or any video game really is there is that level of detachment from them because their personality a lot of times like the storylines that they're in and everything is predetermined by whatever game you're playing, whatever story the game is trying to tell you. This is your character's story is your own. You make the character's stories. It's not anything that is, you know, forced upon you or predetermined. So there's that, you know, personal like ownership of that character that you don't get anywhere else, really. Some games do it, some games try, but even the most, you know, in-depth RPGs that go through that kind of, you know, choose your own adventure style storytelling can't can't do it on the depth that Dungeons does because they're still limited by the rules of the game. You, Sully, what was your knowledge of Dungeons and Dragons when we posed the question to you whether or not you wanted to start a group with us? And what drew you to say yes, and what draws you to come back every week?
Well, I mean, I didn't have a lot of knowledge. I mean, of course I've heard of it and everything, but not like a lot knowledge. But I don't know. I needed something to do first of all. I guess when Dune asked about it and everything, and I mean, of course, there was that one time at the beginning, when everybody ganged up on my character and me, that made me almost want to quit. But all of that got sorted, and it's been fun after that and everything. So
An interesting point because we've gone through, some rough patches at, because we're all people, and it's not just, we get together and we play a game and we stop having, our human lives and emotions. So we're all people. We all go through times, and we all have opinions. We all have, thoughts on things and reactions to things. But at the same time, every single time that's come up, we've worked through it as those same people, as humans, as understanding, as in my opinion, what I would consider as friends. And I'm glad we did, because it would have been so easy so many times whenever any sort of little hiccup happened to just throw in the towel, call it quits, say, we played D&D for a while, it was fun, but there were so many times that we could have taken the easy, non-confrontational option, but didn't. I'm grateful that we did.
yeah, same.
We did the hard thing. Yay.
We're better people today for it.
I don't think that there's much of a question, well, we know, others don't, Cele, why it is that, you continue to play. I think you actually just have an enjoyment for the game, otherwise you wouldn't be playing with multiple groups.
Oh yeah, Cele has developed some sort of crazy passion over this. I'm surprised that you just said that you didn't have that much knowledge of the game beforehand. Like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Uh,
You've developed like a really strong passion for this. It's like, I thought
it
if
happens, yeah. If I like something, I, like it a lot.
that's cool. Yeah, it's cool.
And I invest time. At least try to invest time on the things that I really, really like and stuff like that. There's like 2 things staring at me at the moment that I like really a lot, and I invest time on those a lot. But that's a whole different thing.
So are you looking at your cats?
No, I'm looking at. Well, I guess these things are cheaper in the long run. I don't know.
D&D's expensive?
Yeah, I mean, they are expensive for one time, but in the long run, it's not that expensive.
Oh no, I'm saying is D&D expensive.
D&D is expensive, yeah. The books
No,
are
D&D is super cheap. Dice are expensive.
books are expensive,
Books are expensive.
and
You
dice
bought
are.
you bought the physical books?
I love the books. I gotta have the books.
Yeah, I have all the books too.
Tabletop role-playing game that we play over the internet. I've got all of the, physical stuff. So if we ever do have an in-person game, I'm ready. I've got the books, I've got the dice, I've got the. You guys sometimes will say or assume that a lot of the stuff that I do is work as a dungeon master, whether it be homebrew stuff, anything really, but I legitimately enjoy that. That's a part of the game to me, and I enjoy doing it. Yeah, it's work, but it's work that I enjoy. So is it really?
Yeah, there is that argument that, if you're doing something that you really enjoy, is it even work, even though others would be considering it work?
Mm. I think I actually like it a lot more that this is a homebrew campaign instead of a modal.
Yeah, I'm glad that we did that as well. That's like again, it's another thing of just jumping in the deep end, not taking maybe the easier option to learn it, and just being like, if we're gonna learn it, we're gonna learn it on hard mode.
The hardest mode.
Wait, what are you trying to say? Am I not fair? Am I not balanced?
Hmm. Hmm.
Anyway, what were your thoughts? Your knowledge of Dungeons and Dragons before we started, and your thoughts when the idea was brought up.
Well, I had never played before, and the most experience that I personally had with it was about 15 guys screaming at each other for like an entire day. And then they ended up playing for like maybe an hour before they got mad about a fireball and quit. And the only reason I was there was because I went with my best friend in high school because her boyfriend was playing. She was like, "Come keep me company," and I don't know why she was there, but I ended up there, and I was like, just listening to them create characters, and they're like, "Oh, you would never understand this. This is far too complex for you know, you're a girl. Get
Brain,
out of here."
numbers, 1 through 20.
It
But
sometimes
yeah,
go to 100.
Well, for character creation, you really only care about 1 through 20.
True.
so you were watching Critical Role and you showed that to me and I was like, you know, you had like expressed that you had never gotten into it before. And so I was like, yeah, let's just do it. Let's make a group. We'll play on the internet somehow.
Talking about it, really getting like that's when I was really like starting to say, okay, this is happening, and getting excited about it. So, and the reason why I stuck around with it,
Oh, I get to be Elevorn. I mean, hi.
It's such a double-edged sword. Look, it's similar for me, swear to God. But it's such a double-edged sword. It's like every single week I get to be Durand. Oh God, I get to be Durand.
Every time I get tortured by the DM, that's the rock.
Look, I'm so conflicted. It's like on one sense I get to roleplay the wonderful Durand that everyone knows and loves, and I have to deal with Zen torturing me on a regular basis.
Come on, you were the only male player character. You know how harem animes go. You have to be tortured.
No. Wait, this is preordained. I've become a cliche.
it's it's an investment for sure from each of us of at the very minimum time. But I don't see it as an obligation or a job or anything like that. I look forward to Saturday morning at like 1 a.m. till Saturday at 7 p.m. I'm looking forward to D&D.
And then it's like Thursday night, and I'm like cutting out the minis because I've just got them. Or no, it's usually like Saturday morning. I'm cutting out minis all day.
Meanwhile, I'm here just waiting for anybody to hopefully. Oh, yeah, I'm just always hoping that nobody cancels. But, I mean, shit happens, of course, but
Honestly, as far as what I've heard and seen about groups, especially uh, groups over the internet, we are fortunate.
Yeah.
We are definitely part of the small percentage to have a group that gets together weekly, consistently over years. That rarely happens online D&D. You hear horror stories about scheduling and people and bickering and all that kind of stuff that they just can't work through. And we've had scheduling issues, we've had our bickerings, but we've worked through everything and we're still going. And I don't see an end. Like, sure, like campaign might end, but then see us bring up another one.
Another campaign. Go.
But we are in chapter 2 now, so I will say that we might be around maybe 25 to 30% of the way done with this campaign.
Just that.
Story wise, not necessarily real life time wise.
No, real life.
Real life, one campaign every decade. That's what we're going for.
Yes.
We'll play 2 campaigns of D&D by the time we're 80.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that math works out for
Yeah, it does now, okay? I don't do math at all,
I'm
so...
60 years old, okay?
Yeah.
I don't know. I really think that the roleplay aspects of this game can be really fun and a lot more. You can't roleplay in regular games at all, like in like MMOs with other people, because I mean you can, but you have to be like in a specific server with a group of people who have already. I mean, and we are obviously a group of people who've already been like, yeah, we're gonna roleplay, but like this game, it's a big part of the game. It isn't just like you log in and run around hitting trees or killing sheep.
Yeah, like as much as I do enjoy like the improv and bouncing off of each other when we play and the role play aspect of D&D, I wouldn't really do that in any MMO. I'm not gonna. The only time I would is if I'm either feeling goofy or just trolling, probably. And the only time that I would role play in an MMO.
The funny thing is, I honestly do not know how to roleplay in MMOs. Like, at all.
Let's see. Me role-playing in MMOs. Alright, I'm not proud of any single one of those moments. From save macros in freaking Western Rodfire in the past.
You're not proud of those?
I'm not proud of it. Look, I'll look back and I'll laugh, dude, but I am not proud of basically role-playing a campaign NPC.
Every
Oh
time
my
you use the
god.
ability, spamming the party chat with the edgiest.
That too, and like I had a stupid like okay, so that part was less a roleplay and more of like really stupid like anime RPG at the time where everyone has to announce their move before they
Yeah.
do it. But imagine if instead of you announcing the move, you had some really stupid cheesy one-liner from like a song or some shit at the time. And that was me playing Final Fantasy 11.
You moved up on me as well.
Yeah, true. Look, all right, the only things that were amazing in our macros were your bard macros, and actually that doubles up as your bard macros anyways. No. Bard and dancer and scholar and black mage were hands down the best macros we ever made.
We were, riffing off of each other in a roleplay sense before we even knew it would be a thing. What, 15 years later?
I have roleplayed in MMOs in general though, so but nothing
I'm talking about your private chat.
in general.
Oh, you do it in general chat, huh?
No.
Strange.
No. I uh I've been to some places in 14 for role playing, and I brought a friend of mine that I know in real life. And I was like, my mind was blown by how good this guy can freaking roleplay, and he's never tried it ever before in his entire life. I was like, dude, like you have to play D&D with us.
Yeah, I feel like everybody in our group is a good role player, even if you or somebody else might disagree with that. I truly do believe that. The only little hurdle is you stop yourselves when you realize that you're trying to roleplay. You're like,
Oh god,
shit,
yeah.
or I roleplay. But when you just
God,
get
yeah.
immersed, once you just become the character, you guys are brilliant at it, and I can just sit back and you guys run the show. But it's that like little first bit of like, okay, I have to roleplay this. How do I roleplay? But when you're not thinking about it like that, you guys are brilliant.
Even to our sessions nowadays, Max has mentioned if there's like a way that we could like warm up, because it's always not always. It's sometimes
improv
choppy,
exercises before the session.
right? Yeah, it's sometimes choppy in the beginning, and then it always
Yeah.
smooths out
No,
towards the end.
I do agree with that. It does. We do need a little bit. It seems at the beginning of the sessions to get back into the groove of things. I've noticed that. Yeah. So maybe that's not a bad idea, but it would involve Flash showing up earlier, on time, ready to go.
I can't hear you over me sleeping. Ben, we
Yeah.
we spoke of topic. We spoke off topic.
Yeah.
We're literally rambling.
We are
Yeah,
literally
that's why I went for rambling, dude.
You're right. You were right about the
From
pedal.
the character
You got
now.
the pedal exactly right. I'm sorry I doubted you.
I knew it, dude. I knew it. I just have a knack for these things.